and student advocate, and currently in India, and as a matter of fact, a former chairman of the Liberia Reformation Movement, a student-based political institution in India. And I am the presumptive presidential candidate for the Liberian Reformation Movement. And by virtue of the fact, I consider myself the next immediate president of all of the Liberian students in India. Now, quickly to your question, it's true that whether in Liberia or out of Liberia, we as students have very dedicated role to play when it comes to the electoral process. Like I always tell people, if you look at Liberia history, we as young people have the propensity to make things better and make things worse. Now, take for instance, Liberia have had 14 years of civil unrest. And if you look at the statistic, the war analysis, the involvement of all of the people in the war, you will realize that a vast majority of the people that fought the war in Liberia are young people. So that implies that young people has the propensity to damage the progress and damage infrastructure and everything about our country through war. Now, let's look at elections in Liberia. If you look at from 2000, let's say all of the post-war elections from 2005, 2011, and 2017, you will realize that majority of our voting populace are young people. So that implies that when it comes to deciding the future of our country through democracy, we young people play a pivotal role. So it will make you to understand that we can damage our country, we can spoil our country. So as we head towards a very crucial election in 2023, October, the role that young people need to play has to do with firstly ensuring that we maintain the peace of our country. Because the thing about it, I realized that past elections, especially 2005 and 2011 up to 2017, were characterized with personal hits, personal attacks, political envy, just political projections. But as we head towards October elections, we need to build that mindset of peace. We need to build that mindset of, hey, Liberia have come from a very damaging past of 14 years of 14 unbroken years of civil war. So we need to engage the electoral process, making our colleagues to understand and creating massive awareness for peace. Because mind you, in the absence of peace, we cannot have a good democratic process. We need to understand that we are young, as young people, we need to engage the process with our all. Now, engaging the process with our all, firstly, is to ensure that we figure out and decide the positive impacts that various leaders have made. Because, mind you, there are many at times people go to the electoral process just based on political projection. And that was how 2005 and 2000 elections were characterized. Because we came from war now. People were not engaging the election with tangibles. But beginning 2017 up to 2023, now the biggest question is, hey, what have you done for your people, or what have you done for the electrics? What have you done for Liberia, and guarantee that if it will do more? In doing that, we as young people firstly need to realize our potential. Many a times, some of the electoral violences are involved is because we've not realized that we as young people have a very dedicated potential. So firstly, we need to realize our potential and understand that we have the absolute authority in maintaining the peace of our country. Because if we as young people cannot maintain the peace of our country, then obviously we should not depend on the generation that is good. Because whatever we do today will be a legacy that we will be able to set for our generation and generation to come. So as we engage the electoral process, first and foremost, I'm calling on all of our friends, all of our students, all of our colleagues at home and abroad to ensure that we send whatever message as best as possible to ensure that we maintain the peace. Because we cannot elect the quality of leader in the absence of peace. We cannot ensure that there is more participation in the absence of peace. Because we as young people, we need to ensure more participation. We as young people, we need to figure out the quality of leaders and project these leaders to our traits. Because take for instance, you live in a home of dominant young people. The other folks now depend on you as a young person to provide a direction for change. So the only way you can provide a direction of change is when you have that mindset. That's why you see one of the greatest British philosophers, Edmund Burke, said in a quote, "The only condition necessary for the triumph of evil is when good men refuse to do better." Now, related to our Liberia situation, the only way we can have a peaceful elections, the only way we can continue having a peaceful democratic transition is when we as young people realize our potential. We should understand that all of our brothers that are disadvantaged youth that people call Zokos and Zokis today, they did not just arrive there by pleasure. Some of them arrived there based on extreme economic situation in the country. Some of them got carried away by peer pressure, but it's incumbent upon us as young people who are student leaders to speak to their conscience. So as we engage the elections, I'm calling on all of the Liberians, and this is a very good initiative that the Liberia International Student Network have employed to ensure that we speak to our colleagues back home, make them understand that, hey, you got to engage the electoral process. Go to the various polling center. While it is true that you do not support a particular candidate, but are also frown on the fact that members of various political parties, for various political institutions in Liberia will want to go at lockerhead. I tell you for free, to some extent in Liberia, I was closer to power than be. I serve as of the fastest growing auxiliary group in the CDC, that is the Hebrew Brigade in District Number 6. I was also fortunate to serve as the Chief of Staff at the 54th National Legislature, resignation come to India. And then I realized that many a times we as young people take to social media, we denigrate politicians, we go at lockerheads with our colleagues to the extent that on a daily basis of this, we don't have the face to look at them and embrace them only because we want to please various politicians. But it will interest you to know that these very politicians that we vent our necessary anger for, flex our intellectual muscles for, they will be sitting down on a table and knocking glasses and looking at our various posts and say, hey, man, I'm popular, I'm influential. So as we engage the election, let have a change in mind. Let's change our direction. Let's change the narrative. Let's have a different perspective that we as young people must be peaceful from the beginning and peaceful to the end. So going towards the electoral process, we as young people need to realize our potential. We need to understand that we have the greatest burden of maintaining the peace. We need to figure out and deciding positive impact for leader in order to ensure more and maximum participation.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tape. We still wait to hear more from you. However, we will go around our table. Gentlemen, you listen to Mr. Tape, quote unquote, the presumptive president for the Liberian Student in India, Association in India, something like that. He has said
it's
a
called
lot.
the Association of Liberian Students in India.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so you listen to Mr. Hasifa Tape very well. He has deliberated very well in my mind, and we will now turn to you. Do you have questions? We will give you the time to ask 2 questions each. And now we're going to start with the Rwanda Miami Mayor. Please ask Mr. Tape 2 questions. Mr. Tape, please mark our questions down, and after every speaker, you will respond to the question before we can move forward. And after that, we will move to Luke Croix. After Luke, we will move on to Swat in India, where you are. And each of them will be asking you 2 questions each. So let's hear you, Enoch. Please ask Mr. Tape 2 questions.
Mr. Tape, for that splendid explanation. So I have two questions to ask you. So, but before I ask my question, I would say it's good as a young person, you are knowledgeable to the political landscape of Liberia. As you said right there, you have been one of the participants of the Liberian politics as a politician, serving at the office of a district level as at the lower parliament, the lower house. This is a good experience for us. So we're going to get something good out of you tonight. So my first question has to do with in our contemporary politics in Liberia, young people have been driven to support politicians in with the mindset of protecting their jobs or protecting uh, some sort of benefits that they get from politicians. For example, there are some students out there who are studying in different countries who have been supported by some senators or representatives or some aspirants who want to contest for public office. My question is, how can young people divorce themselves from the issue of conflict of interest that has to do with protecting their jobs or the scholarships they earn? Because most of our politicians are they are people who believe in people who sing song after them, who glorify them, who use social media to glorify their names, to denigrate people who oppose them for the purpose of supporting young people. And a young man there who is pursuing a foreign scholarship, who is solely sponsored by a politician. If he doesn't live by what the politician have asked him to do, his support might be cut off, which serve as an impediment to his study abroad. How can we reconcile this as a young people? What is your thoughts about this as a young person? How can these things be remedied as young people? That's my first question. And the second question is, looking at our societies, Liberian students out of Liberia and those of them here in Liberia studying different disciplines. You see that statistics have proven the majority of the young people in our sector have been a kind of traumatized by the kind of political environment that we have, especially in the election nearing time, um, quote unquote, characterized by hardship. People depend on some sort of kind of gain coming to them for their well-being, even those who are not in school. Now, looking at the high level of illiteracy in our country and a kind of political space created in the name of democracy that have given much freedom to young people to speak out in any way they think they can speak. Now, my question is, how can we hold young people accountable for what they do, or how does young people exhibit a kind of responsibility or responsible approach towards electoral period that is going to help with the young people to project a kind of good image during the election year time? How can we work out that? These are my two questions, Mr. Tata.
All
Okay,
right.
so
Thank
Mr.
you very
Tabe,
much.
okay, there. Perfect. You can respond to the question before we move to the next speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ino Batwa. As a matter of fact, you have the similar last name to my campaign manager here in India. His name is Kangale Batwa, and I have very high regard for people of such. I appreciate your two questions. And let me start from the bottom. Young people, the issue of being traumatized, and how can we exhibit a responsible approach to the electionary process. Now, the easiest way that we can exhibit a responsible approach is to ensure that we divert from the conventional arcade style of politics. In Liberia, I will always give a case study with Liberia, not other country. Especially 2005 and 2011 elections, many of the young people that voted in election voted on the side of party line. Many of them voted on the basis of, hey, my friend is with this party, my family. So they voted based on friendship affiliation, on party line, on the issue of family connection, and just mere political protection. 2005, we just left war. It was the post-war election. So there were just political projection. That is, a politician tell you that if I'm elected, I will do this, I will do that. So we clinched onto those political projections and made our decision. Again, 2011, we said that let's give them a try. Now, the best way to change that perspective and change the dynamism is to engage the process, taking the consideration that, hey, we must ask a hard question. What have you done that can guarantee that if elected, you will do more? I gave you an example. I am a staunch member of the ruling Coalition for Democratic Change. But again, I'm the progenitor of something that is called the Young Candidate Debate for National Leadership across Liberia. So whether you are a sedition, you are an opposition from diverse political spectrum, but for the fact that you are a young person.
Mr. Talbot, just a second, just before you go, just a second. We just want to remind you that we want to keep the conversation like pretty tied to what role students are going to play. Like you just set a very perfect scenario with previous election. How does the role student play in that process impact the Liberia? That could be a good one. And of course, current roles that students are playing, how do you think going to impact Liberia as well? What role we going to play to ensure that we have a perfect, free, fair, and transparent election, void of conflicts and everything? This is what we want to hear. Thank you very much.
So now your question, yeah. So Emmanuel, your question is a little bit diversion to what Enoch asked. So sorry, let me stay with Enoch question and then push a little. So now Enoch question has to do with what role young people going to exhibit responsively, what responsive approach. So now, like I said, we need to firstly change the conventional style of politics. We as young people, we as students before voted just based on projection. Now, as we engage the elections, we need to consider the fact that what have you done that can guarantee that if so in changing the conventional approach, we need to realize our potential. We need to realize the fact that we must go for the get-going tax. We must not just go for people based on political projection or political affiliation. We must be able to scrutinize the people. Let's be able to understand that we as young people firstly can make the difference. In the absence of understanding that young people can make the difference, we cannot change our approach. Why it is true that there are many young people that are traumatized. Most of the young people, some of the young people are traumatized from political proceeding because they are disenchanted. They're feeling frustrated. Probably there are some of the people feel that a particular individual and then they're getting personal benefit. And this is the mistake we always make in Liberia. And if we can't change the conventional arcade style of politicking, we will always make that mistake. We as young people should go to election because of personal benefit. We as students should be cognizant of the fact that we should engage election for the general good and the general interest of Liberians. So our decision should be precipitated on the quality of impacts that have been made by a particular individual. Now, going to your first question, that has to do with many people support politicians because of job. How can young people divorce themselves for conflict of interest, especially with the issue of scholarships and job? And I will tell you for free, the two words I'll use: self-esteem and sustainability. If we as young people, we as students, will now realize that we need to build up our capacity to fill the void as next generational leaders, then we will always be supporting people because of chicken change. Let's look at the issue of self-esteem. Emmanuel, Enoch, if you guys are politicians and political actors in Liberia and you want to lend my support, I should understand that even myself should have a self-esteem. I have the level of sustainability in mind. Mind you, I don't just want to take on a job just to be chanting battle cry. Nobody want to chant battle cry for 2-3 elections. I can tell you in 2011, 2017, I chanted battle cry. The biggest question is, as I decide to fly Liberia for the October election, do I want to chant battle cry? The answer is no. I don't want to chant battle. But mind you, I must be preparing. That's the reason we always encourage students to involve into professional life. Build up your professional capability, build up your professional capacity, that you will not always be chanting battle cry. So once you build up your capacity, there will always be the issue of sustainability. Why it is true, like I told people at times, your qualification, your contact give you job, but it's about your output that help you maintain the job. So we as students, we as young people, in order to divorce ourselves from the mentality of always chanting battle cry or supporting people based on jobs and scholarship, we need to employ that issue of self-sustainability. And in employing that, hey, you must come and get a job and be efficient to the tax. That is, you must be qualified for the job. So if you have a job, like I always tell people, there are some of our job based on political connection. So the best you can do is build up your capacity and make yourself qualified for that job. So only qualify for the job and you give him a maximum input. You do not need to always chant battle cry to Comrade X and Comrade Y because you want to maintain the job. That is sustainability. So as we engage the electoral process, the way we can erase that mentality is the issue of building up our capacity as young people. Let's look at some of the young people that came for scholarships. Look, man, there is no politician or political actor in Liberia who believes that a building will want to not invest in a young person that is making good grades, a young person that is living up to the expectation of leadership. There are a lot of our colleagues that got foreign scholarships, that have some private scholarship, sponsorship, and then they just believe in the issue of chanting battle cry to get the scholarship. They just want to have that political. My advice to you is that get focused on the education, make the quality of grades, prove to the person who provided you with financial support and opportunity that in the absence of just chanting battle cry, in the absence of the political affiliation, you have a better IQ. There are many at times in India, I don't know for Cyprus, there are many at times people judge people's leadership ability and people based on their ability to socialize. And I told someone, hey, do not judge a book by its cover. You can be a social person but have a better IQ. So it's like balancing between your social life and even with your social life, whether you can present a better argument or have a better IQ for sustainability. So as we engage the election, in order to ensure that we put an end to the issue of political support for job, we as young people must build up our capacity and ensure that we qualify, we're competent, and we match the tax and skill for a particular job. If we young people will continue to do this, we will not need to run beyond politicians for little handout. We will not need to run beyond politicians to maintain ourselves on jobs. So as we engage the political season, my answer to your question, Enoch, in order to erase the issue of campaigning just because you want to maintain your job, let us engage in self-sustainability, and the best way we can do that is to ensure that we build up our capacity and be equipped to the task.
Thank you. Emmanuel, shortly, can I do a short follow-up on his response? Just one, like 2 minutes.
We'll back to you. We'll come right back to you. Let's give the time to Luke shortly so that he will ask his 2 questions. You make your follow-up. Just trust me, you're going to make your follow up. Let's hear from the other people. Don't take all of our questions away. Luke, let's hear you.
All right, thank you very much. And again, thanks to the speaker. Uh, again, Liberia is going to the elections, uh, and the population of the country, the youth, quote unquote, the students, whether international students, whether local students, constitute, um, I mean, majority of the population going into the elections. The first time voters, they are all students. They all have future, and we are all the future of the country. So my question is, uh, I actually want your opinion on that. Uh, is that what's actually our okay? So what do we actually look for as young people, as students? So I just want to just generalize it as young people. What do we look for in these elections? So mind you, if we have a deal, uh, because if we do not go to the ballot box, uh, definitely we wouldn't have any candidate winning, without the youthful population or so. So if we have a deal where the politicians come to us, like, okay, we beg you, get to the ballot box, go and register to vote. Like, what should be our demand? I guess you're getting the question, right? So, as young people, what should be our demands in these elections to the politician? That's a deal. We want to make a deal. Like, okay, without this, we cannot do this. It is not the usual politics where we're going to sing behind them, where they're going to use us, dump us, and our future will still be jeopardized. So the question is, what should be our take? What should be our demand this time around in these elections? Like after the elections, all of the drawbacks, all of the downside of those politics and everything. What should we be expecting in that aspect? What should we demand for those aspirants, those candidates to come? So that's that's my first question. And the next question is, uh, it's kind of quite simple, because basically um, we basically believe in one. We are mostly being coerced to get into electoral violence. So if we did not, I just want you to speak to the conscience of the young people. Like, if we did not get into those confrontations with each other, allowing the politicians to use us and destroy our own country. So, what's the negative impact it's going to have on us if we just sit down and say we will not be used by the politician? What's the negative impact will that have on us? Will that have on the growth and development of the country?
Mr. Tapper, did you
Okay,
get the
thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, your first question is what we actually look for as young people election. That is, what actually are our demands? And I tell you, in my mind, and as a student leader, someone who have had the understanding and the experience in Liberia politics, especially when it comes to the leadership and governance of our country. and even projecting myself as the next immediate president of the Association of Liberal Students in India. As a matter of fact, going to elections in May. And even in our various chat rooms, as I reach out to people to consider my candidacy as the next immediate president of ALSI, what we look forward to and what our demand is that I always tell people, let us look forward to the betterment of Liberia as we engage the national elections in Liberia. In India, as we elections for ALSI, I look forward to the benefit and progress of ALSI. We must demand our leaders, and I like that word you use in your question, Luke, the issue of demand. Let us demand our leader to better the lives and improve the livelihood of Liberia. I see this as a demand because we're not going to go back to our negative past. We're not going to keep living on political rhetoric. The task is with us as young people. And today, as I'm given the opportunity to speak to schools of young people, of Liberians around the world, whatever contact you have in Liberia, whatever influence you have, kindly tell your contacts and influence available to you to demand a better Liberia. Ask every politician that will want your vote, ask them, what have you done that can guarantee that if elected, you will do more? What's the justification that you can be a better leader? What is it are you bringing on the table to prove that, yes, if considered by the people, you can make a better Liberia? Do not forget now, for so long, the people of Liberia have been politically played. For so long, the students' minds and their mindset, their interpretation have been misconstrued. So we as students, we have the burden, we have the ultimate and privileged authority to checkmate our leader. So, process. What should we demand? We should demand a better Liberia. Are you willing to involve continual leadership? Are you willing to realize all of the errors and challenges in Liberia and make a step? If you say yes, let's look at your past involvement. Have your past involvement in any way have trickled down effect on your life, on the livelihood of people in Liberia? Look, Martin Luther King was right when he said, our life ceases the moment we remain about things that matter to us. That means we as students, we should never get tired of propagating the rightful message. That means as students, we should keep engaging our people and making them to understand that we are demanding positive change. We're not going to beg politicians. Politicians depending on our vote. So if you are a political actor in Liberia, under the sound of my voice, I am telling you that if you're not willing to adhere to the demand of the students and the young people for positive Liberia, then you're not ready for election. So even as I engaged, that was in one of our chat rooms, I was telling someone that, look, I'm not a righteous person. As I go for the election of the presidency of the Association of Liberal Students in India, I'm not a righteous person. I have my own flaws. But there's a great deal in realizing your mistake, understanding the challenges, and being willing to tap on and make a difference. So this is what I'm going for the elections, because I believe in my ability to institute change. I believe in the fact that service over the period of time, my impact right to the student community can ensure that I work collectively in making impact. Similarly, in Liberia, we as young people, we are demanding the necessary change. What we actually look forward to is the betterment of Liberia. Now, to your second question, not to be used. What is the negative impact? If we as Liberians decide not to be used by politicians, if we as students decide not to be used by students, by politicians, I can tell you it got no negative impact on Liberia. It got no negative impact on us. So the only look, let me change your question around with a rhetorical answer and make you understand that we should not be used because of the positive of Liberia. If we want a positive Liberia, if we want a better Liberia, do not be used. If you want a better Liberia and you honor the sound of my voice, do not succumb to the fact that one politician will call you and carry you to entertainment center, sit you down on liquor table, buy you one or two drinks, you'll have some social discussion, extend to social variable, just because they want you to go on Facebook and cause your fellow Liberian and disagree with a fellow young person only because of their personal aggrandizement. I will tell you that if we decide not to be used, let me tell you right now, all of the students in Liberia and out of Liberia that are having contribution or having a positive trickle-down effect on the growth of our country. If we just agree that no politician will use all, let me just speak in the my man, all will just say all the we're not listening to them to tell or anything. We don't care about any negativity. As far as we're concerned, we look at where Liberia coming from, we look at where we are now, and let's project what we envision in the next 10 to 15 years. If everything about us will just be positivity, you will realize that even a politician will sit back and say, hey, there's nobody to be used. So once we are not used, there will be no negative effect. Everything about Liberia will be a win-win situation. We will be making decisions based on the interests of Liberia. We will be making decisions based on the fact that if President Weah or whatever leader in Liberia can institute or erect 50 kilometers of road or one or two medical centers or additional educational facility, we will take into consideration that the next leader we want him to continue from there and do more. So we will not be carried away by the negativity of politicians. So you will understand that if we just decide not to be used, all of our politicians will put themselves in a rightful place and understand that in order for us to give them power, in order for us to recognize them in leadership, they will have to engage in positivity.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the
Thank
reason
you.
why
Thank you
I
very
think
much,
like
Mr. Tapper.
students.
You have done it very well. Thank you very much. We have a lot to talk about here tonight. So thank you. Look, does that respond to your question well? Does that answer your question?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's okay.
That's great. So just before taking Mr. Zwatapo from India, let's recognize our precious viewers. I think we need to make them feel at home. So we have Melvin Joe Jr. He follows us from India. He's monitoring from India. We have Willie B. Tinkman Jr. from here in Cyprus. We have Regina Tamba from, okay, she's watching from India as well. We have Woruba Prince Harris Jr. is watching from India. We have, let's see who's here. We have Jerome Jones from India. We have Kamara Ibrahim. Kamara Ibrahim is watching us from, I think this is India as well. We have T. Calvin Tode Jr. He's watching us also from India. Let's see Marcus M. Kamara. Marcus Kamara, yes. We have Sharif. Sharif is following us from here in Cyprus. We have Morrison Dean Walker. Morrison, thank you for viewing. We have Danwe Zappa from Cyprus. We have, let me see. Jerry Hinen. Jerry Hinen, thank you for viewing, for following us this evening. We have Erika Duncan is also following. And of course, we have Ambassador Joshua Temat Davis. And that's it. So thank you guys for following this evening. We have you to our just keep on following, share the videos, share all of our videos, like it, and of course, follow the page. Thank you so much. Council Zua, you have two questions to ask Mr. Tamba.
Okay, thank you so much. I would like to appreciate it, guys. It's good that we all speak to our young people and our students in Liberia. Let me start by saying this. Many a time, because I have witnessed elections in Liberia. My first election I participated in was the 1997 election. From 97 to 95, 2017, 2012, all of those elections that we have seen, we participated in those elections. But one of the things that sometimes I usually see in Liberia, the young people, as we say, students, because most majority of the young people are students, from one political party to another. When Party A is having rally today, all of the young people are there wearing t-shirts of Party A. When Party B comes tomorrow, everyone is there. Sometimes you see the same faces wearing t-shirt for Party B, on and on and on. So my question is, how can we talk to young people to regularize those things that we are not better driven people from one party to another when it comes to political rally? You see young people just roaming all around, being agitated with one another, all of those things. What advice do we have for young people in that direction? The second question is acumen. All of the politicians, we know you want somebody from Party A and you want somebody from Party B. Sometimes we witness in our country among young people, sometimes face fight. They will be fighting one another for somebody, as the speaker said from the beginning, for somebody that will go, for people that will go and sit on the same table and be, sharing their thoughts, but we use our energy, our muscle, our blood, our sweat to fight. Sometimes not constructive argument, but destructive argument, and just fight each other for their behalf. What message as a student leader do we have for students, both local and international? What message do we have for them to curtail those things in our electionary process?
Mr. Tapo, are you done?
All right, so Mr. Takwa,
And
thank you very much. I appreciate your question. And the second question was the issue of the face fight. What message do we have for students? And the unique and definite message from me, in my capacity as a former student leader in Liberia, as a politician, a former government official, someone who has served in the political sector, and someone who is aspiring for the highest seat among the Liberian students in India, my unique message is students should use their intellect over violence. We must engage the discourse intellectually. Take, for instance, is supporting a different political candidate, and I am supporting a different political candidate. I need not to fight with Takbo for him to understand my message. I need not to cut off speech or disassociate my friendship with Takbo because he have a diverse political view. What I need to do is to put my intellect into action. That is the reason why you see, even if you look at India, Takbo, I don't know which of the states you're from in India, but if you look at India among the Liberian students community, people will always tell you that I'm a different character because I'm someone that politics don't divide me and my friends. Politics will in no way have the propensity to infuse bad feelings between me and my associates. I respect people's political view. That's the reason why, even back home in Liberia and here in India, apart from respecting people's political view, I also respect people's religious view and people's social view. So it behooves people why I'm a Christian. At times I visit mosques. And people ask why you are a Christian and you get into deep friendship with Muslims and what have you. Because we must respect people irrespective of their views, irrespective of their tribe, irrespective of their religion. So I will tell you, Takbo, as students, we should engage issue with our intellect. Let us put our ideas to action other than involving into violence. I will always tell people, if you are supporting me to be the next president of ALSI, if you are supporting my agenda for a better Liberia and a violence-free election, please do not get involved into violence. Look, Liberia will suffer too long from the issue of violence. Liberia, we've had a desperate and bloody past. We're not willing to revert to the desperate and bloody past. So as we engage the election, whether in India ALSI election or in Liberia Ottawa election that I'm hopeful of flying to Liberia for, I will always tell people, let us engage the election with our intellect. Let us use our intellectual ability. Let us dissect issues. Let us understand and get to know the rudiments or the operandums of the various political actors and what are they bringing to the table. Let us look at their platform and compare it with their past involvement, because mind you, there are some of the politicians, if you see their platform, is as if to say it will bring heaven on earth. So get their platform. You've been knowing them for a couple of times. Compare their platform with their past involvement. What has been brought for up and down in their platform, the current reality of their past existing or their current existing. Use your intellect. Let us use our views, our ideas over our physical strength. There's a reason why I would encourage people, let us say no to violence always. Now, to your first question. Your first question was, how can we talk to young people? That is the issue of shifting from one political party rally to another. For me, I will say clearly, Takbo, I appreciate the fact that young people can go to diverse political party rallies. You know what people don't understand in Liberia, and not just only Liberia, even some of us who come from Liberia in our various student leadership, our various student environment out of Liberia, the mindset of Liberia. Who told you because I'm having a political rally and Takbo come for a political rally, so Takbo come there to support me or Takbo come there to get handouts or tip from me? No. Takbo may come there to listen to my platform. So let me tell you, Takbo, I will encourage young people, I will encourage students visiting as many as political rallies as possible, because you must go to the mindset of getting to know that man platform, getting to know that man ability. What is he projecting for the betterment of whatever leadership that he's want to insert? So going to the political rally, I don't frown at it, and I'll encourage people. You take, for instance, in Liberia, whether you go to CPP rally, you go to United Party rally, you go to CDC rally, I will encourage young people visit at as many rally as possible. Only if your intention to visit is to have an informed decision. Go to the rally with having an informed decision. If you will not visit these various political rallies, if you will not give ears to these diverse political actors, how will you understand the agenda for transformation of the country you are in? How will you have an informed decision to make your choice at the ballot box? So visit the political rally, visit the various discussion, give ears to all of the various political actors, because you must dissect between all of the political analysis. Take it from so, take it from there, bring it here, put them on a table, look at all of them, grade them, look at their past analysis, look at their projection, and see how best it fits in the betterment of Liberia. So I would disagree with you. I don't want to discourage anybody from visiting as many political rallies as possible. But the only thing I would encourage them, do not go to a political rally only because you want to wear a t-shirt. Do not go to a political rally because you want to sit down on a table and have social fun time. Do not go to a political rally because you want to dance the panto music, you want to dance the CRC music, and then you want to dance United Party music, you want to dance CDC music. No, do not go there because of that reason. Go to the political rally with the mindset of wanting to understand the platform. There's a reason why I can remember a few of my colleagues told me some days ago, hey, man, this guy is a friend to your opposition. This guy is a family member of to the person that opposing you. Why are you wasting your time to explain to him your agenda for transformation? Why are you wasting your time to explain to him your platform? Like I told people, whatever opportunity available to me, I will use that to talk to people as much as possible. I want you to understand, but even the candidate that is contesting against me, if you were given the opportunity, I will sit down and making the understand that as I'm coming to the leadership of ALSI, I want to continue from where the current leadership stopped. I want to network the institute. I want to set up an ALSI trust fund. I want to ensure a fully funded scholarship for students. The biggest question is, can you do this? How? Like I told people, I'm not coming like a cash cow. I'm not bringing money to the leadership of ALSI, but I'm going to use innovation and contact. Let me tell you for free, I'd give you a scenario. I'm the person, me and my team were on record, or is on record of ensuring that we have the first ever in-person guest as orator for any of the Association of Liberian Students in India. Can that make more
Well,
of that happen? Yes,
we will
because I
invite you
have
some
the
of these
contact.
days to come and campaign for your for your presidential bid in India. Tonight we are actually focused on what
And you
role
know,
can like
my presidency will be the best presidency ever. My presidency will be the best presidency ever in the history of India.
this
I look
is
forward
for
to the
Indian.
time of having Emmanuel Gwen, all of you guys here in India to have. Look, let me tell you, comrades, sorry to dissect a little bit. We need to have an international student exchange. Imagine what it means that Emmanuel, Gwen, Luke, Enoch will be flying from other places to come and interact with Liberian students here. Let us be able to have the opportunity of going Cyprus and visiting other places to interact with you guys.
This is
Let's know
something
the
we
challenges Liberia are
this is
facing
this
so
is
that
something we
we
look
as
forward to.
diaspora
This is something
students.
we actually look forward to seeing. We actually look forward to seeing ourselves with you in India one of these days. Where we will sit down, share ideas, talk about Liberia, talk about the student community, what we can do to add value. Yes, we will definitely do that one of these days as long as we have breath. Okay, so from my own angle, I think that you are doing very well tonight, and I must admit, uh, you're doing exceptionally well. However, I have a few questions for you. And this is my first question. Mr. Tappet, I don't know whether you have been following activities, political activities in Liberia in recent time. Our students, our high school students, elementary students, little kids who do not even, I mean, some of them who do not even have voting rights are being seen in the sun and the rain whenever a political aspirant is paying visit to a particular town or village or a particular city or community, our students are out there in the sun and the rain, waiting for that person, whereas they're supposed to be in the classroom learning. You, as one of Liberia's student leaders, do you really think that something is wrong with this? If so, how do you think we can remedy this? That's my first question. My second question, in my mind, most part of Liberia is found within a rural area. Rural part of Liberia constitute huge components of the country's population. And we have almost everyone pursuing higher education in the urban areas. During political time, during electioneering period, we see our young students going back to our people with candidates. Our students Can you hear me?
I think you broke in for a little. We're just hearing you
Yes.
here. Come on now.
Yes, excellent. So as I was saying, students at various universities and colleges in urban part of Liberia take politicians, take aspirants to our people. Probably some of them have received some little amount of money. And at the end of the day, as a result of the influence they have over their people, the people vote the wrong person. Mr. Tape, what advice do you have to give to our students? Those who take aspirant, basically they know nothing about that person. They just take some of those people and take them to our people back home because those people believe that in a Liberian English, we are their eyeball. They just speak up somebody from the city. Let's go to Mama and Papa. And at the end of the day, they help our people to make wrong decision. What do you have to say to those students that are involved with this kind of thing? How can we curtail that? How can we work this out? Let's hear you on this.
Firstly, I must say to our Liberian students, our colleagues with the little influence in the rural part of Liberia that take politicians there under false pretense, is firstly disappointing, and in this public sphere, let me condemn it. I hereby condemn it. You see, Liberia is a country that the literacy rate is high. This is where we as students need to play a very major role. We as students that have our little connection available to us, we need not to misuse them. We need to be cognizant of the fact that whoever we carry to our people, whoever we carry to our support base, should be people that we believe in their agenda for transformation. If for any reason, and this has been permeating in the political corridor of Liberia for a very long time, even here in India, where I'm contesting and considered as the next immediate president of ASI, there are people who just carry people to their friends and say, oh, because I'm supporting this person, you must vote for this person. That has been very wrong. And it's because of the illiterate rate, especially in Liberia. We as young people, we as students need to desist. In my capacity as the founding chairman of the Liberia Reformation Movement, the student political group in Liberia and the presumptive standard bearer, I hereby condemn the idea of influential students carrying politicians back home under false pretense. It's a good thing for you to use your influence to make sure that someone is elected, but please be cognizant of the fact that whoever you carry to your constituent should be someone that should have a positive impact, because whoever you carry, their negative impacts will have a negative reflection on you. You see, some of the reasons why some of the people will not be re-elected in 2023, based on the fact that some of those people that carried them are having a negative reflection. They are reflected negative of the candidate they carry. So I'm hereby condemning this act and calling on all of my brothers, all of my sisters, my friends, and fellow students. And please, Emmanuel, Takpo, the rest of the panelists here, and to the entire Liberian International Student Network, kindly join me and let us condemn this action. We should be in the vanguard of carrying people to our constituent that can positively impact the life of our people. Mind you, even though we have a very high population of illiteracy, the people who are illiterate and see us as influential people, they depend on us for good decision. So if we will not provide a better direction, then we owe it to our conscience. We owe it to everything that will retrogress Liberia. So I hereby condemn it and call it on all of them, all of my fellow colleagues who are involved into such act to on it. Now, your question about following political activities in Liberia and students of non-voting age, their involvement into political rally. The question is it wrong? There are two answers to your question. Yes, it's right, it's wrong. No, it's not wrong. Let's look at how. Yes, in a sense that, yes, it's wrong in a sense that if a student that is not of voting age will have to boycott class, like in India, we say you bunk class, you bunk lecture. If you have to bunk lecture or boycott class to go for a political rally, only because you want to have the social involvement and based on your own personal aggrandizement, I am saying it's wrong.
Mr. Tapper, just a minute. Mr. Tapper, just a minute. I'm talking about where school administrators suspend normal learning activities to have the student outside using their influences to have the student outside for sometimes 2 days. Mind you, some of the politicians will tell you, look, we are coming today. I am coming today. And the student will be taken outside there. I mean, they are out of the classroom for one whole day.
Takbo, are you listening to Emmanuel? Because I'm not hearing him. Any of you guys here listening to him?
No, I think his network is
I
broken.
think it's pretty.
But just
So
to
okay,
continue, right?
let me shoot. To some extent, I think I understand.
Okay, I think he's
He was
back.
talking about the fact that.
Yeah, just a second. Sorry, I'm facing a little issue with my Wi-Fi internet here this evening. Guys, I'm very sorry for this. So, like, I mean, as I was saying, I'm telling you about where sometimes the students are out of classroom. Our school administrators are taking them out of their classroom for 2-3 days to meet as parent. Mr. Tape, do you think this is right? And if it is not right, what do you think could be your own advice to both aspirant, how you call it, incumbent politicians, and of course to school administrators to stop this? Let's hear you on this.
So the first thing I will tell you, this action is wrong. It's wrong, and wherever it's from, it's totally wrong, and I condemn said act. Now, let me tell you this. If you know of any school that is involved in such action, please say this to me. Even if you can say it publicly, inbox me. I'm going to use my little contact available to me and officially complain this school administration. The first thing, I even want to front politicians who will engage in their political endeavor to have schools administration boycotting classes to ensure that students come to their political rally. Look, let me tell you, the best gift for every nation is its healthy people. The issue of being healthy is not just with the body and that of your physical morphology. It also has to do with a healthy mind. So if the students cannot complete and go through their lectures or their study properly, they won't have a healthy mind. What sense will it make for a politician to want to lead a group of people that don't have a healthy mind, that are not mentally equipped? Then you, the politician yourself, you have a problem. So I'm sending this officially on this public medium as a wake-up call to the Ministry of Education. Just recently, the Minister of Education and his deputy, they met with few members of the leadership of the Association of Liberian Students in India. It's my understanding that even the minister and his deputy are currently in India. If for any reason they are listening to me, anybody closer to them, kindly send this message. Let the Ministry of Education ensure that every school administration that will ensure that students not go through the curriculum as guidelined by the Ministry of Education, not fully exhaust their educational calendar but thereby boycotting schools and boycotting lecture and boycotting classes only because they want their students to go for political rally. I'm urging the Ministry of Education to take stringent measures. Mind you, the new Liberia we envision, the Vision 2030 that we look forward to, the generational change that we talk about that we want to live now. If we cannot prioritize education, everything will be in vain. So woe unto those administrators that are encouraging the idea of students leaving classes and going to political forums. Also, I'm disappointed in the fact that any politician will want to encourage school administrators to send their students to listen to them on political activities because they want to take on and go at the high echelon of power. This is disappointing to the core. There is a blatant disregard from the depth of the devil belly to the education sector of our country. Already we are complaining of the some way, somehow messy education of our country that this government occurred, and we are all exploring medium to build up the capacity. The reason why you see the Emmanuel, Takbo, all of you guys left your comfort zone in Liberia, came to India, Cyprus, China, other places where we as Liberians are being marginalized, is we want to get educated to some extent and be able to contribute to the progress, the educational system, and the livelihood of our country. So what sense will it make for politicians and school administrators to be working in ensuring that students not paying attention to their education, but focusing on political rights? In stronger terms, I condemn this, and I'm calling all of you guys to join me. Let us condemn this. I'm sending this as a wake-up call to the leadership of the Association of the Liberian Students in India. That is the outgoing leadership, the people that I'm about to take on leadership from. Please ensure that you publicly condemn this action of students leaving school and going for political rally that have been masterminded by schools administrators and politicians. The Liberia with a vision is a Liberia with a vision for an educational society. In the society, the students cannot be educated, all the political involvement we are having will be a total waste. So I hereby condemn the action, and I will say that in whatever way you know of any school involved into this, let me know. I will do an official communication in my own capacity as the presumptive president of AOSI and ensure that this issue be minimized and, if possible, curtailed. Liberia is all we have. We cannot look at the education system going down the drain. If we will continue to have a retrogressing educational system, then that means the country will continue to retrogress. Because if the mindset of the people cannot be built up, if the educational capacity of the people cannot be tapped upon, then what Liberia do we envision? Like I told someone,
Okay.
if you think you want a president of ALSI that will be of no fault, then don't count me. I have my own flaws, but let's work together and make ALSI a better place and make Liberia
Oh,
a better nation.
oh,
As we
okay.
evolve in
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Uh, I think you're doing well. Like I've always said, you're doing exceptionally well. You know, the way I see you, if we give you the water tonight, you'll continue swimming. So I want to take Enoch quickly. Enoch, we want to make his follow up. And then after that, we will hear from, we have 30 minutes after 12 a.m. here. We have 30 minutes to go. So we have to stay for a couple of minutes to discuss among ourselves. So let's hear from Enoch. Enoch, please make your follow-up quickly, and then we'll have Mr. Tape responding to that.
So thank you again, Emmanuel, and thank you to my fellow panelists. And let me say thank you to our guest, Mr. Tape. You have been very excellent in your deliberation. But this is just a follow-up to my previous question, where I spoke about student not having the opportunity to be more independent in terms of their responses to political activities because they have been sponsored by politicians. To the point, I like development have three main objectives, and those objectives, you touch one of them, that is sustenance. The essence of development is sustenance, for people to be self-sustained. The next thing is self-esteem, which you also mentioned. And the last one is freedom. These are the three reasons for which we engage into developmental initiatives. That is for people to be self-sustenance, meaning they should be able to sustain themselves. They should have self-esteem, that is to maintain their dignity, for people to be able to recognize them for who they are. And the last thing is to have freedom. That is in Saint Amata postulates. He said people should have freedom to choose the life they want to live and how they want to live that life. So my question is, Liberia as a developing country, we don't have programs that build the capabilities of young people, because for someone to be self-sustained, to have self-esteem, and to have freedom, it means their capability needs to be built properly so that they are able to compute, they are able to earn, they are able to purchase, and they are able to choose the kind of life they want to live. The question is, we don't have programs that help people to build their capability. Private universities are very costly in Liberia. Government universities are scarce. You cannot have the government university does not have the capacity to accommodate the young populations in Liberia who are seeking secondary and tertiary education. So it has gotten them stranded to the extent where they enroll in private schools, private universities, and private higher education institutions like the TVET schools owned by private individuals in Liberia, that the costs are very exorbitant. So because of these things, they go out to seek assistance from private individuals, from people with political motives who want to seek public offices. They also go to seek assistance from people who are in public offices but want to maintain their public offices. As a result, they give political scholarship. So if you are on their political scholarship, you have to dance to their drums. So my question is, how can people get the kind of capability you talk about? Build your capability, build your self-esteem. I cannot build my capability without education. I cannot build my self-esteem without education. This is why people are leaving Liberia, going to India, going to Rwanda, to Cyprus, to China to build their capability. But they lack the financial support to build that capability. And in order to build that capability, you are being supported by one politicians. Back to my questions. How can you divorce? How can people build that capability in the absence of programs, in the absence of policies that support people, giving them the opportunity, which is the fundamental responsibility of government or the state, to help people build that capability? How can people build the capability to be self-esteem in the absence of programs that help them, and relaxing on politicians supporting private individuals who want to be glorified, and they are supporting young people? How can they divorce themselves from that?
So, your follow-up is good, and creating a better opportunity for us to expatiate more on the issue. I can tell you, divorcing ourselves from the issue of political actors, international leadership, and their support to our scholarship and what have you. Frankly, in my honest opinion, it's a difficult task. And the best way to do it is our best of decisions we will make in every elections. Like I always told someone, in Liberia, education is all right, but attending a private institution is a privilege. Yes, I learned that. I got to realize and understand that from Sister Mary Lauren Brown. I can remember when I was in Stella Maris, because that was where I attained my Associate of IT Engineering before moving to the field to do marketing. I attained my Associate of Art degree in Civil Engineering at Stella Maris. So Sister Mary Lauren Brown always make us understand that education is all right, but attending Stella Maris in any other private institution is not all right. It's a privilege. So what we can do is difficult, brother. I will be frank to you. It's difficult to divorce ourselves from that. Now, what we can do is cognizant upon us to put forward the best leaders. We need enact good policy for good education system. We need leaders that will enact good policy that can build up the public education system in the country. In India here, many of you who are in India will understand and agree with me that a public institution, a public education, they are of good quality as compared to what it is in Liberia. Take for instance, the RKG Punjab Technical University is a public institution. There are many other private colleges that are not of the degree granting level, but they are affiliated to that public institution. So that means many of these private institutions that are granting degree through the RKG Punjab Technical University, they are doing so because of the good policy that was enacted that have ensured that RKG is a qualified, competent institution to provide degree of higher education. So all we need to do as students, this is what the tax is upon us. My brother, as we have left Liberia to come to India, Cyprus, Rwanda, and other countries, the tax is upon us. The burden of positive change is upon us. We must go back to Liberia, carry our ideas, and ensure that our education system get good policy wherein public institutions can be equipped, wherein the right of education can be accessible to everybody. Education is a right, but that right is not accessible to everybody because all of the public institutions in Liberia are of good standard than all of the private institutions in Liberia are of good standard and quality than the institution. So the question is, what are we doing? We should ensure that our government and political actors institute good policy to build up the education system, especially for the public sector. So if the public sector education is built up, is improved, it is computing with private institutions, that will make education a unique right. So then I would not have to be choosing between going to a Catholic school that I will have to spend 60, 75,000 for a kid, then when you go to a public institution that primary, secondary, and tertiary education is free. So because the public institutions are not equipped, that's the reason why you see people running to the private institution. So the best way to do that, because we can't divorce ourselves from that, is to ensure that the people we are electing into leadership, the people we are entrusting the governance of our country in, let us ensure that these people should be able to craft the best of ideas for our nation. There's a reason why we as students need to play a major role. And there's a reason why any day, anytime, I will appreciate the Liberia International Student Network for this platform. I must admit, I'm available, I'm willing to always appear on your platform and provide the necessary of education, to have the quality of discussion, to ensure that we interact, we share our views. It's not about just having me as a speaker or just can make political talk. No. The question is, all of these things we are discussing, how can they have a trickle down effect? It's when you, Emmanuel, Takwa, Luke, me, and all of us can use our influence to ensure that the quality of leaders we want, the quality of leaders that we believe in, that can change the perspective of our country to positivity, get international leadership. So as we engage all of these things, especially the election, let us understand that we can change the game.
So, as we engage the elections, we should remember that we can change the game. That's the last thing I just heard from you. Well, we have like 19 minutes to the close of our show tonight. Like we have said from the beginning of your deliberation, you have done very well here tonight. You have spoken very well and responded to our questions very well. And we will just turn to our guys. We will turn to Luke and Mr. Tapper if they have anything to say further shortly. And you can just make a short response to each of. I mean, if they want to ask question, please make your response very short because we don't have time in our favor anymore. I know this is our platform, and whenever there are issues for us, I mean, for us to discuss in the interest of Liberian international students, and of course, Liberia as a country, we will need people like you to come here. So we have more time. We have this platform here to stay, and just give us some short responses, and then we can close tonight. Look, let's hear you.
All right. So thank you very much. To your deliberations, and so again, as we push for responsible leadership, as we demand for a better leadership that will equally distribute the natural resources we got in the country, as international students, as young people. We also need to take responsibility. We need to to be accountable for our actions, whether uh, action I mean things we actually do knowingly or unknowingly or so. All right. So in recent time, we are actually gearing towards elections, and we have seen students uh, involved into brutal or into chaos, like always. Like we see other countries right now as we speak, they are made Nigeria in Africa. You have Nigeria, you have Ghana, Uganda. I mean, they are focused. University students focus now is on research. The competition now is how many people going to, uh, I mean, to publish some review paper, some TV peer review or whatever. But it is not our case in our country. Our country, at Vera University, a mini, let's say the state-run university, situation that is marred by violence, uh, many influence or perpetrated, uh, let's say, solely I mean, masterminded by politicians. And you have, uh, the fact is, we have our colleagues, we have students or student leaders who have the political tones are being controlled by certain group of politicians and so and so. I say that because just in recent time, March 13, the violence that erupted on the University of Liberia campus, it actually impaired the learning of many students. There are many students who want to go and just spend 4 years and try to, get their masters or do other stuff. But you just have certain group of people with the same mindset, like, oh, okay, we actually the revolution that brought Martin Luther, I mean, how do you call him? Marcus Matthew. Yeah, it was the student that stood the ground. But we are still referencing the negative things that happened in the past, and we still practice them as today's reality. While we have our neighboring countries doing well in the research settings, they are holding their government accountable. They are holding their government's fire to the feet through dialogues, through ideas that promotes growth and development and everything else. But yeah, we are with the same thing referencing the revolutionary tendency about this and that. Where are we? Where are we going? And could you take a stand on violence, especially the recent violence, where you have politicians mainly playing the cards, using the student against each other, disturbing, I mean, being, I don't know. So, could you take a stand and, I mean, how can we divorce ourselves from the the riot, the this, that, those revolutionary tendency and blah, 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 and incorporating ourselves into to these contemporary research settings that we can compete with other countries, that we can hold our government accountable, that our government will see us very responsible, and that we will be able to handle things uh, a very progressive way.
So, the thing is, your question was, can I take a stand? And then how can we change that perspective? How can we divorce ourselves from that attitude? Firstly, let me tell you that when the entire incident occurred, I took a stand in my capacity as a student leader and also in my capacity as a member of the ruling coalition for democratic change. Given that I am a former political actor, I work at the level of the National Legislature. So I took a stand. And my stand was to firstly condemn the two lawmakers that appear on the campuses of the University of Liberia. I condemn the two lawmakers' action. Let us understand this. This is why people normally call me a controversial politician. So you support the CDC, but at times you condemn some of the seditions action. Sometimes we see you affiliating with people of the ruling establishment. What have you? Their actions were wrong, and their actions are condemnable, given the fact that both of them action stalled the learning process that day. I hereby
Yeah,
condemn
yeah.
the
So
action.
can I inject? Can I inject? So basically, I mean, I just want us to take responsibility, like us. Let's forget about these guys. If we have not, position ourselves like where the other person will call and say, okay, yeah, group yourself. The other person call. Let's talk about us. Like, let's take responsibility. Like, that's the stand we want to take so we can discourage our colleagues. Like, guys, this is all. Let's get to. Let's just put pen to that. Let's do research. Let's try to grow. Let's try to do this. Let's just forget about blaming the politician. But then, they are. I mean, they always will be in the picture. But let's try to get rid of them. Let's focus on ourselves. That's the main idea. Like, I just want to talk about.
So now the thing about it, putting ourselves in a picture require the fact that we must understand we as students, we are giving politicians the opportunity to use us. So what we need to do, like I said initially, is to realize our potential. Look, let me tell you frankly, if we realize our potentials, that the generational change we've been crying for some 3, 5, 6 years ago. This is the time to live the generational change. If we will realize that, if we have realized that, we will understand that we as students need to be cognizant of the fact that we are the generational leaders. So all of our actions should be positive. We should understand that one politician should not just come on campus and we run behind them to chat battle cry and run behind our colleagues. Our next course of action we need to chat is what can we do as student leaders? What can we do as student advocate to ensure that sanity be brought to the campus of the University of Liberia and all other university campus like Liberia? What can we ensure as students that positive actions should be encouraged and implemented by our political actors? What can we do to hold our political actors' feet to the fire? What can we do to have a changing mind and changing attitude into the political environment of our country? So, first thing we need to understand is that we must realize our potential. We must understand that the positivity of Liberia rests on our shoulder. So if we understand that, we will know that we will not engage into violence. If we understand that, we know that we will not be used by politicians. For too long, students and young people have been used wrongly. So this is the time that we must shift the perspective. So what we can do is by realizing our potentials. And once we realize our potential, we will begin to act positively. That's the reason why I told someone, if you see me engaging and getting involved with the election of the Association of Liberian Students in India, because I've realized my potential that me and my team can usher in a better leadership. So as we look at the elections in Liberia, we as young people, let us realize our potential. And in realizing our potential, it requires that you should not get tired and weary of the actions of some Liberian students in Liberia. Do not get weary and tired of the action of some young people. Keep using your contact and your influence available to you to be conscientizing people to desist from violence. keep using your
Oh,
contact and influence available to you to keep
okay.
encouraging people
Okay.
to look forward to better and positive leaders.
Mr. Tabet, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But Emmanuel is always cutting me off when I'm beginning to hit the jackpot. I don't know why, but that is it,
Listen,
guys. I appreciate the
listen.
platform a whole lot,
I
and
have,
I look
I
forward
have
to having your
understood that
time. You know what? I'm looking forward to having
Mr.
your
Tabet,
time. We will just discuss
Mr. Tabet,
under the Association of Executives in
I have
India.
understood that you are a politician, and politician work to do is to talk. And if we give you the time, you'll continue talking until the next day tomorrow. So there are a lot, like I have told you from the beginning, we have a lot to talk about, and there are a lot we have to do on this platform. This is for the international student, and of course every student leadership, both home and abroad. And so you have all of this to yourself. We just need to work out things to have you here some days. However, we will want to take Council Zua. Council Zua, you got to make it short. And obviously, Mr. Tabe, you got to make it short because we want to do justice that we go around the table 2 times. That's what we normally do. So let's hear you, Council.
Okay, thank you ever so much. When I sit and listen to Tape, I just imagine how he will be in a bigger picture tomorrow when he shall have extended his political journey in the bigger picture because he answered questions as a politician and he explained a lot. That is commendable. That these are change that we want to see in the Liberian politics, at least with different dimension for other people to see that when you engage in people professionally and you engage in people based on issues
Yeah,
that
but
are discussed,
let,
but you will not.
let's talk what the Liberian children will do, the Liberian student, what thing they will do in our election to make sure that violence does not erupt. That's the question we
So
should be
we
talking
we
about today. This man will come.
we need to
Let's
focus.
talk about
We
that
need
one.
to focus our attention on what Liberian students need to do. Okay, having said that, I think he has answered our questions, and on this platform, as you have said, it is the platform for students to change their view. And so wholly and solely tonight, we are focusing on the role to be played by students in the Liberian politics as electionary period is coming, especially for the electionary period. It's important. I think I asked the question, uh, how can we stop the argument and throwing muscles for other people? This is the background of violence in a country where because students are the vulnerable people that are being used frequently. I think somebody said, somebody talked about love of country. I am with a strong conviction that once you love your country, you will not involve yourself into violent acts. So talking to our students to engage the issue based on, to engage the electionary process based on issues that uh, issues that are maybe accurable, but if you're doing the argument, it should be preferring ideas to tell one another this is the best idea I think we can follow, and understanding the views of the other people, respecting their views. But once the respecting of view is not done by students, you will see that agitation will start to come in and other people will do some things that will be actually against social justice. Let's say that will be against many other things as Liberian. This is why we are here tonight, to talk to our students, to talk to our young people, to really see the electionary process as their own. It should not be for politicians. Some will say we have fought for the people for long. This is your country. Take the responsibility as student, take the responsibility as future leader, and talk for your country. The country is not for another person. You are not different from those that are running today. You can be tomorrow. But
Mr.
if you
Tapa,
take the
Mr. Tapa,
responsibility
are
to
you
yourself, you take the responsibility and make the country to love the country and take the country to be your own. So then I come back to the guest with a follow-up question. As he said from the beginning, that it is important that students take part in every political activities. But when you are going there, the mindset that you going there with makes it difficult for it makes it difficult for your idea to be perfect. Mindset. How do we explain to our people? How do we explain to the first time voter? Because other students will not understand when you speak to them holistically in a collective words. How do we explain to the people what kind of mindset do they carry to political rally? What are they going to look for? Can we explain that to them tonight so they can understand as to how to go about moving from one political rally to another? That's my follow-up question. You are muted.
So the question is easy. Just like Emmanuel said, I don't intend to be too long. How can we explain to our people, our younger colleagues, is that they should understand where we've come from as Liberia. They should understand where we are now and where we are headed. So as we engage this, let us understand that the success of our country rests on our shoulder. So we should inform them that as they go to political rallies, let them not prioritize the issue of self-aggrandizement or social activities or what they can get as their personal benefit, but let them go there to listen to, understand, and get to know the platform of these political actors that can serve as a growth and productivity for our country.
Great job. Yeah, great job. Great job. Thank you so much. And Mr. Tape, we now turn to you again to give us your parting statement. It's 1 minute after our own official time. And of course, we will take 10 minutes to do our parting statements and say goodbye to our viewers. And of course, bid you a pleasant goodbye too. It has been a very great time. Let's hear you on your parting. Quickly, 2 minutes.
So, I let me say a very big thank you firstly to the Liberia International Student Network, and I want to state here clearly, I look forward to having more of this conversation. Liberia, in my mind, is the best country because that's the only country I owe my loyalty to. That's the only country I have my heritage. It's the only country that I cannot be deported from. All of our exploration where we go in the different part of the world is because we want to build up our capacity, advance ourselves for the betterment of Liberia. So as we engage the elections, we as students, let us understand that the greatest burden, the progress of our country rests on all of us shoulder. There comes a time in life that you take a decision that is not favorable, that is neither political nor popular, but you do it because your conscience tells you it's right. Me, as a conscious-minded person, I've realized that in order for Liberia to progress, all of us as student leaders must put our acts together. We must get our hands on the decks. And mind you, in order for us to shift the fear of our country positively, we must start up with our own very self. Let us look at our various student leadership in the diaspora. How are we willing to network? How are we willing to collectively work and make impact? Because if we cannot agree among ourselves, how can we go out to our brothers there? As I close, in the October elections, I look forward to us building a Liberian student diaspora team that will go Liberia and speak to the conscience. Let me state here clearly for the record, I'm initiating this dialogue. Let us see how best we can build a joint team. We can use our necessary contact available to us to ensure that students leadership, the student leadership or representation from Rwanda, Cyprus, China, and other part of the diaspora, we can form a unique and one team to go like Liberia and speak to the conscience of our brother. Let us prioritize the issue of impacts. Let us look at the fact that we need to protect and maintain the peace. Let us understand that we need to make the quality of this decision and create the necessary awareness of change. As we get engage the elections, let us understand Liberia first, Liberia last. Let's peace reign. Good day to all of you. I say peace to the loving people of Liberia. I love Liberia and I will always do. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. Thank you very kindly for being here, for honoring our invitation. Like you said, we too look forward to seeing you here again. It has been a very good time with you. You responded to most of our questions, even though there were some that were issues. But I guess you campaign 50-50 with the conversation you came to have with the Liberian students back home and even abroad. Howbeit, we will try to arrange something good that you will come right back here. Thank you so much. It was a perfect time having you in our company this evening. Thank you so much. So can we say goodbye to Mr. Zagba? Excuse me, Mr. Tapper now.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I
Goodbye.
think
Have a pleasant time. Continue the conversation. I'm open
Thank
at
you.
any
Thank you
time.
very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
thank
All
you,
right.
thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Okay.
nice night.
Goodbye, my brother. Okay, guys. Now this is it. Just take 2 minutes each. Okay, 3 minutes each to to explain to me and our viewers how you view I mean, Mr. Tape advice to Liberian students. I mean, his response to our question. They didn't respond to all of our questions correctly. Was there some like, you know, maybe escaping or something? They didn't escape some of our questions. What do you think? Look, let's start with you. You have 3 minutes to critique Mr. Tablet tonight. In my mind, I know what I have to say, but let me hear from you first. Yeah.
Uh, the fact is, the fact is that he actually did well. Uh,
Okay.
and another thing is that we do not expect our guests to answer the way we want, the way we want them to answer. But yeah, he actually did well. Uh, the only thing we want to clarify is that we did not call Mr. Pape to campaign. So there is not a platform that just promotes uh, whatever candidate. So I think we're just going to do a justice to everyone. There is a platform for international students. So anything that concerns international students, I think we will definitely venture into that.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that we can also invite the two candidates for the Liberian students in India. They can come on
Okay.
the platform and talk to their colleagues why they should be preferred. I think that's going to be good. But Mr. Tapper just used the time as well to
Yeah,
do his
you,
campaign. You cannot blame him. He's a politician. He has most of his guys already here coming to cheer him up. So yeah, so but it was a great interaction though. So we can
sure.
we can actually get a time to bring the two of them here. I mean that's a sole purpose. They can discuss the politics, the marriage, and the marriage and everything. Yeah, but it was good.
What about your own questions? Didn't satisfy? I mean, did the responses satisfied your questions well? What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I said. Like uh there wouldn't be anybody that will answer questions according to what you actually feel. So
Okay.
but overall he did well, yeah. Obviously I would be thinking very different and you wouldn't probably go into the direction, that I would be asking the questions or so. But
Thank,
he did
thank you
well.
very much.
Yeah,
Tap,
it was a
all
good
your
discussion. Yeah,
Yeah, Tap answer
yeah.
all your questions, and you are happy with him. Thank you very much. So let's hear you quickly. We don't have time again. Let's hear you quickly.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I must commend our guest tonight. Uh,
Okay.
Even though he was highly political, but he answered the questions, according to his own understanding and the understanding of other viewers. But what I want to say is this is, I mean, the question is just an open question. Open questions answer will not be the test question answer because what he understands is what he will tell us. And actually, I must commend him what he understands about student and the body politics of Liberia. He has explained it to us. So I must commend him and as Luke has said, it would be fair enough that we invite the other candidate at least for their debate instead of he alone coming to say lack about himself and the other person is not there to maybe do some anti argument. So it would be better to we extend invitation to both of them so they can come and share their ideas. I think that would be the best. But all in all, I would like to commend him and even commend all of us tonight that sat with him and make the program successful. Thank you so much.
Well. Thank you to all of you too. I thought somebody was going to say Tabe did not do well. Yeah, I was coming to France more, but I think we were all keen to the show. We listened to him very well, and he did extremely well. I only have some issues because Mr. Tabe have decided to use his platform to net to campaign for his election in India. So like for you now, you didn't know anything about the man intention to contest over there. I don't think you know. So, I mean, you are aware. So the man like try convincing you because he already heard that you are there in India. The man tried talking to you this evening as well indirectly. So I think that's the only thing he spoke more politics, not just a 50-50 as he was speaking to Liberians. He was campaigning on the other side for his election in India. So that was a good one. And I want to agree with you. Once we discuss in our meeting, in our team meeting, and we agree that look, let's invite the both of them. I don't know the other person, but I think Tape can get us connected to that person so that we can bring the two of them here. Because leadership starts abroad. Once they begin to do better, I mean, over there in India, I believe when they return home, they will have some goods to deliver to the people of Liberia. And so I just like to say thank you so much. Your performances on the show tonight shows to me that we have a big team, we have a great team, and we can do better than this. So I want to say again thank you to all of our team. members who made it possible to have this week ending successfully on Saturday today from my end. Okay, it's already Sunday here. Okay. So thank you so much, guys. It was nice having you here. You have to go and rest. Me too. I want to rest. So we want to say to our many viewers, thank you ever so much. It was nice having you here. And guys, can we say goodbye now?
Okay, so all right, so another time.
Okay. Thank you so much. And goodbye. Do have yourself a pleasant night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.